Melania Trump also came out of nowhere today and had some crazy shit to say. Melania Trump delivers statement at White House denying ties to Epstein and knowledge of his crimes. Let's take a look.
Here's the First Lady, Melania Trump.
With the disgraceful Jeffrey Epstein need to end today. The individuals lying about me are devoid of ethical standards.
This is a very strange thing that Melania Trump chose to do today. And I think it's because of the fake news flying around of what I suspect is a AI photo of Melania sitting on Jeffrey Epstein's lap that people are claiming Macron posted. And it's I know that this is totally like boomer slop because my boomer dad brought it up to me and I was like, Dad, that's probably fake news. I searched and searched far and wide to try to figure out like where this was sourced from, and no credible outlet has reported on it. I don't think that the photo is real, and I definitely don't think that Macron posted it anywhere. That's where it's coming from. Now, of course, there is truth to the fake news, and that is that Melania, regardless of what she's saying, okay, Melania, regardless of what she's saying right now, is one of Jeffrey Epstein's girls. She was a part of the, I think it was the modeling agency that Jeffrey Epstein was affiliated with under the French guy, Jean-Luc Brunel. Or no, it's not. It's Paola Zampoli. She's all over the Epstein files. She is directly affiliated with Jeffrey Epstein. And yes, Donald Trump did meet her through the Epstein orbit. Melania director Brett Ratner pictured cuddling woman in Epstein files. I guess people are claiming that this is Melania Trump maybe, but the reality is Melania is affiliated with Jeffrey Epstein, and Melania did know Jeffrey Epstein very well. That's a lie that she says she doesn't know Jeffrey Epstein. And Melania met Trump through Jeffrey Epstein's orbit. So all of that is true. Why is she coming out to deliver remarks on this affiliation and like lie about it? I don't know why. I don't know why now, right?
Humility and respect. I do not object to their ignorance, but rather I reject their mean-spirited attempts to defame my reputation. I never been friends with Epstein. Donald and I were invited to the same parties as Epstein from time to time, since overlapping in social circles is common in New York City and Palm Beach. To be clear, I never had a relationship with Epstein or his accomplice, Maxwell. My email reply to Maxwell cannot be categorized as anything more than casual correspondence. My polite reply to her email doesn't amount to anything more than a trivial note. I am not Epstein's victim. Epstein did not introduce me to Donald Trump. I met my husband by chance at a New York City party in 1998. This initial encounter with my husband is documented in detail in my book, Melania. The first time I crossed paths with Epstein was in the year 2000 at an event Donald and I attended together. At the time, I had never met Epstein and had no knowledge of his criminal undertakings. Numerous fake images.
It is a little bit, not to be the woker here, but it is low key kind of white supremacist that she gets to be this like visibly a migrant after being here for, multiple decades without any of the normal nativists, white nativists ever bringing this up as an issue of concern. Okay. Like, can you imagine if she was brown, like not like fake tan brown, but just like actually brown and Trump's wife? I mean, Usher Usha Vance is Indian. She has an infinitely better grasp over the English language, and people still come after her nonstop. I wonder why. She is genuinely an unlikable figure, and yet most people are just like, whatever, she's hot. She's Trump's hot wife, and she's super white, and it's fine. She's super American.
And statements about Epstein and me have been circulating on social media for years now. Be cautious about what you believe. These images and stories are completely false. I'm not a witness or a named witness in connection with any of Epstein's crimes. My name has never appeared in court documents, depositions, victim statements, or FBI interviews surrounding the Epstein matter. I have never had any knowledge of Epstein abuse of his victims. I was never involved in any capacity. I was not a participant, was never on Epstein's plane, and never visited his private island. I have never been legally accused or convinced of a crime in connection with Epstein's sex trafficking, abuse of minors, and other repulsive.
Bro, that's crazy. Like, this is the classic I've never been convicted of t-shirt is bringing up a lot of questions answered by my t-shirt moment. What an incredibly specific and strange thing to say. Did I say convinced or she said convinced? Did I say convinced? I said convicted, right?
Or convinced of a crime.
Oh my God, she said convinced of a crime. Oh my God, she did. Oh my God. That's so, I mean, this is crazy.
In connection with Epstein's sex trafficking, abuse of minors, and other repulsive behavior. The false smears about me from mean-spirited and politically motivated individuals and entities looking to cause damage to my good name, to gain financially and climb politically, must stop. My attorneys and I have fought these unfounded and baseless lies with success and will
She also said these photos have been calculating around the internet for years. Nice.
Continue to maintain my sound reputation without hesitation. To date, several individuals and companies have been legally obligated to publicly apologize and retract their lies about me, such as Daily Beast, James Carville, and HarperCollins, UK. Now is the time for Congress to act.
It is very strange for her to come out and do this, though, even if she's trying to get ahead of some new leak. Because what is the number one thing that people constantly say that I kind of get annoyed with, where they're like, oh, we're waging this war against Iran because Trump wanted to hide the Epstein files, right? I don't agree with that, but it doesn't change the reality that the Epstein files is something that his base is demanding, and they want to learn more about his direct affiliations with Jeffrey Epstein and the affiliations of his wife with Jeffrey Epstein. And this brings that Epstein case back into the forefront, back into the main topic. Very strange. I could see this as maybe her diving on a bullet potentially so that we don't talk about Iran and instead talk about Epstein maybe. That could be something. There could be something there. Because like the Iran situation is technically far more consequential than the Jeffrey Epstein situation, right? Because you can just like yap away about the Jeffrey Epstein stuff and get the cult to be on board, whatever, right? But you can't out yap gas prices. You just can't do that. No matter how hard you say, oh, this is bullshit, we're winning the war in Iran. If no ships are passing the Strait of Hormuz, gas prices are not going to normalize. There's going to be shortages around the world and eventually in the United States of America as well. So people are going to see it. People are going to see it when it hits their wallets.
Epstein was not alone. Several prominent male executives resigned from their powerful positions after this matter became widely politicized. Of course, this doesn't amount to guilt, but we still must work openly and transparently to uncover the truth. I call on Congress to provide the women who have been victimized by Epstein with a public hearing specifically centered around the survivors. Give these victims their opportunity to testify under oath in front of Congress with the power of sworn testimony. Each and every woman should have her day to tell her story in public if she wishes, and then her testimony should be permanently entered into the congressional record. Then, and only then, we will have the truth. Thank you.
And then she just off. So strange. What the is this? Yeah, never said Trump is innocent, by the way. Yeah, because he's not. Let's be real. Yeah, I don't get it. Very weird. I don't know. I truly, it's one of those things that just came out of no one was asking for this. No one was like, ooh, I wonder what Melania's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein looks like. You know, it's a very, very strange thing that she chose to do on her own. Jacqueline Alemany, host of The Weekend at MS Now, says, just got off a quick call with President Trump, who said he didn't know anything about FLOTUS's statement, First Lady of the United States statement, prior to her on-camera appearance, but that he was in a meeting about the war and couldn't speak further. She didn't know him, he added before hanging up, referring to Epstein. What the is happening, bro? What is it's a madhouse over there, man. It is. What the is going on? What the absolute shit is happening in this White House? I can't tell. Is this a psyop? Like what? A palace coup is taking place. Melania is going to be the next president.
Well, President Trump came out on Truth Social and attacked myself and all the original MAGA supporters today. And I'm just so sad that whatever's happened to him has totally changed the man he once was, because he did so much good. That said, it followed just a few hours after Melania Trump came out, unannounced, reportedly Trump didn't know, and said she wasn't involved with Epstein and she supports a full investigation by Congress into the Epstein cover-up. Trump says Epstein's a hoax. So this reminds me of Melinda French, when she started turning against Bill, also over Epstein. So Trump's got big problems, folks. And I am just so concerned about this country and the world. Trump's being led around by the nose by Netanyahu and by Mark Levin and others. And it's so sad. The Iran war is a total disaster. A black eye for America. They control the Strait of Hormuz. It is just absolutely incredible what we're seeing and what we're facing. I supported the old Trump that got so many good things done. But at the end of the day, I just feel sorry for him and pray that God touch his heart and soul and free him from the demonic influences that he's under. I mean, it's just that simple. This is a nightmare. We know the Democrats, the left, are absolutely terrible. But when Trump's calling for wiping out whole civilizations and acting like a supervillain, I have to come out and say I don't support it. It's that simple. So again, Trump's own wife came out in an unannounced press conference today and said
dude, what is happening? What is this? Does BB dangle some blackmail material out there to keep Trump in line?
She appeared to reference an email as well, an email that has been published that is part of the Epstein files that have been released over a period of time. It's an email, I believe, from October 2002, an email that she is alleged to have written to Ghislaine Maxwell, the partner of Jeffrey Epstein. It's an email in which she writes to Ghislaine, "Dear G, how are you? Nice story about JE in NY magazine. You look great on the picture. I know you're very busy flying all over the world. How was Palm Beach? I cannot wait to go down. Give me a call when you're back in NY."
Is a resurfaced email from the January 2026 file drop? Yeah, this doesn't make sense. Like, there's nothing. I mean, we know Melania's connections to Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know why it's like being reported as though it's like new information. So I
Have
don't.
a great
This
time.
isn't like new information. I don't know. I guess they're speculating. They may be speculating as to why, or Benjamin Netanyahu is floating it around. It's because of her statement. No, I know, but there isn't any new information that has come out. There isn't any new information that's come out. I could see them using the Epstein files as a distraction away from the Iran defeat, low key. Unless there's, we'll know soon enough. I'm seeing 3 different options here. 1, Benjamin Netanyahu teased more information will come out and gave a little taste to Trump that would connect Melania to Jeffrey Epstein, or like more hard evidence that he would leak. Okay. If Donald Trump didn't act right and allow him to continue bombing Lebanon and up the ceasefire. Okay. That's the blackmail theory. The second theory is Trump demanded Melania come out and like relitigate the Epstein stuff just so that it could be a distraction in the media cycle away from the Iran quagmire and the failures in Iran and the concessions that he's making to Iran that he's going to have to make. Okay. And 3, somehow there is like a massive story that's about to come out about Melania, and they can't control the release of it. So they're trying to get ahead of it. And she did this on her own. And the massive story is not coming from, Benjamin Netanyahu or anything like that. It's just coming from somewhere else. Wild that they're pivoting back to Epstein files, to be honest. Things really must be bad if that's the move. Maybe his decline is progressing more than we know. So they're setting up a fall. I think the most likely one is 3. The most likely one is 3. That like there's a big story potentially coming out about Melania's connections to Jeffrey Epstein. And they know about it. So they just tried to get ahead of it for some weird reason. Like they tried to get ahead of it like this. Problem, of course, is that Melania doesn't have the same confidence from the base that Donald Trump has. And therefore, when she comes out ahead of this stuff, it's not going to put a dent in people's interest.
Love Melania. So says that email from 2002. Now, Melania Trump is saying in this extraordinary live statement from the White House that she is not associated.
If I was first lady, I would hold weird press conferences like this for attention. So maybe it's that. Okay, 4. She's just bored.
With Jeffrey Epstein. She never has been. She never went on his aeroplane. That he had no part in her being introduced to her future husband, President Donald Trump, essentially totally disassociating herself with Jeffrey Epstein. So a quite.
Trump said he had no idea she was doing it. Every time Epstein has been brought up, he pivots to who? Oh, I have no idea. I know. That was also crazy. He was like, oh, I'm too busy doing president stuff, which is, of course, taking Benjamin Netanyahu's phone calls. That's what I'm doing. That's what president stuff means nowadays. When you just like are dropping everything when you're dropping everything so that you can be at his beck and call. Epstein survivors came out with a statement on Melania. Survivors of Jeffrey Epstein have already shown extraordinary courage by coming forward, filing reports, and giving testimony. Asking more of them now is a deflection of responsibility, not justice. First Lady Melania Trump is now shifting the burden onto survivors under politicized conditions that protect those with power. The Department of Justice, law enforcement, prosecutors, and the Trump administration, which has still not fully complied with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. It also diverts attention from Pam Bondi, who must answer for withheld files and the exposure of survivors' identities. Those failures continue to put lives at risk while shielding enablers. Survivors have done their part. Now it's time for those empowered to do theirs. I see that. Yeah, Department of Justice said because Pam Bondi is no longer the Attorney General, she doesn't have to respond to those questions, by the way.